This is Crypto Core Radio, discussing the ideas, people, and projects building the new digital economy. Get the latest on blockchain technology and cryptocurrency updates with your host, LooTz.
Welcome to Crypto Core Radio, where we talk all things crypto.
All right. Well, thank you for inviting me.
So I just woke up myself, so I wasn't really ready, prepared. But what have you been up to lately?
Well, let's see. I've been drinking a lot of scotch,
Nice.
and it's eating very little. So it's a good diet.
Yeah.
What about yourself? What have you been up to, my friend?
Yeah, I've been eating no sugar. I've been on a no sugar diet, absolute no sugar. And
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean I'm totally into ketosis at the moment, so I feel great.
I was on an all. Well, good. I was on an all sugar diet for a while. It was a lot of fun. I'm joking.
Yeah, but it is wired fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is I heard of a phone that you were coming out with. Did that ever come to fruition? That it was a totally secure phone.
It's still in development. It's a long, involved process building hardware and software for a phone, but it's coming out early next year, and it's basically it will be the most secure phone that's been put together yet.
Okay, I'm waiting for that. I thought I saw another one coming out that it said it was a Linux phone. Is it based on Linux, the phone?
No, it isn't. It's based on Android.
Android? There was another phone I
Yes.
saw came out. It was based on Linux. So you saw the Bitcoin price today. What do you think about this Bitcoin gold?
Well, a month ago when Bitcoin was down to almost $3,000, and people were going, the bubble has burst. I kept saying, ignore it. What happens in the short term is meaningless,
Right.
And it will come back. And I predicted $5,000 before the end of the year, and I'm certain that I will be correct in that. So, people get panicked when the media, or like the chairman of J.P. Morgan says Bitcoin is a fraud and it will crash. And so the media creates a frenzy. People start selling, but it doesn't matter. The more users. Go ahead.
Did you hear that jerk off? What he said out in the media? I bet you right after he said that and the price went down, he went to go buy it.
Oh, I'm sure he did. He knows the power that he has in the press. So, but again, these things will disappear. The more people who adopt Bitcoin as their medium of exchange or their currency, the more the price will go up. This is simply a fact of life. So, I am very confident in my prediction, and you'll see 5,000 soon. The last I checked, it was 47.80. What is it right now?
It's 4823.
48.23. See, still going.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's don't worry about temporary fluctuations. Even if it drops by half, that has more to do with scare tactics than any sort of reality.
About 2 to 3 years ago, when I was working in a corporate situation, which I don't have to anymore, thank you to Bitcoin. Everybody would look at me like I had 3 heads when I mentioned the Bitcoin. Like I was like the weirdest guy in the room.
Sure.
For mining Bitcoin and for investing all my hard-earned money into Bitcoin.
Right. Well, keep in mind the Bitcoin community is divided up into two segments: the miners, and mining is a business. Okay, it's not some egalitarian, touchy-feely thing. It's a business, and it is competitive. And people are some very large players that are controlling things. yet the users of Bitcoin still get all of the benefits of a purely distributed system. So the miners will deal with things like more efficient machines, the utilities that speed up transaction processing and so on, and the users just use the coins. So the fact that mining is competitive will create a few giants, and that's neither here nor there. Neither will it impact the use of Bitcoin. Keep in mind, mining will disappear.
You think so?
In just a few years, you know that. We will have mined all of the coins, and so mining that will be an insignificant piece. So again,
right.
I know there's a lot of conflict among people, Bitcoin Cash, versus Bitcoin Classic, I guess you would go, just regular Bitcoin.
You know the Wayback Machine, right?
I'm sorry?
You know the tool on the internet, the Wayback Machine, to check the archives of
where you go back and you can look at websites that have disappeared, yes.
I was looking at the BitGPU, or that bitgold website. If you go in the Wayback Machine, there's some really strange stuff going on over there. I mean, they were talking about an ICO a couple months ago, and they're talking about a pre-mine. And then I'm thinking, how do you pre-mine a forked coin, right? It doesn't make any sense to me. So,
no, I agree.
There's something very strange about this BitGold, and now I'm starting to think that it's just an excuse to continuously keep this price low.
Absolutely. But again, these are all temporary things as well. I mean, you cannot manipulate something as it grows larger. The ability to manipulate it grows less and less. So as Bitcoin grows in users and in market cap, the ability to manipulate that will disappear.
Do you have any favorite altcoins like Neo's coin or Komodo? Like any altcoins that you use?
I favor coins that give me anonymity, like Monero.
Right. I've heard you say that. Yeah.
If you also I cruise the dark web a lot.
Right.
So if you go onto the dark web, a year ago, everybody who was selling illegal drugs or contraband monkeys from the Philippines or what have you were using Bitcoins. Now everybody on the dark web is using Monero.
Right.
So that's an indication for you of what will happen in another year when Monero leaks from the dark web into general use, because anonymity and privacy are number one in my mind, and right. Monero gives you that.
Mine too. That's like the most important thing for me. I've looked at Monero. I kind of like Komodo a little better, even though it's not fully developed yet. Monero is pseudo anonymous, right? It's a pseudo.
No, it's entirely anonymous. There's simply no way. There's no way to unwind a transaction.
Okay, I got to check it out. I personally haven't looked too much into it. There's too many coins out there to keep up with, man. It's ridiculous.
Well, right, and many of them, they start, the new ICOs, half of them are scams. The reason that China came down legally on ICOs and exchanges was that a number of companies, mostly from America and Canada, were doing ICOs in China and promising things like you'll get 100% return in 2 weeks, or things that you simply cannot guarantee. And people were losing money, and then they would take the proceeds from the ICO and buy fancy cars, new houses, boats, and what have you. So there's a lot of that happening, but that will also diminish as people begin to understand cryptocurrencies better. And right. the more people who understand them, the fewer people you will be able to fool. So what people are doing now is taking advantage of the lack of knowledge in the general population about cryptocurrencies and ICOs.
Well, what do you think about the recent ICOs going? I mean, remember back in the day there was maybe one or two. I mean, and every time one came out, it was something special. Right now, now there's 50 to 100 going on at the same time.
Yes, absolutely, and mine will be one of those. The McAfee coin.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, go to McAfeecoin.com. we have the white paper, we have everything there, and we have developed, almost all of it already. And it's a very unique concept, and it has to do with venture funding and how funding is decided today versus the way we will do it using the McAfee coin, so that people can, the consensus of the users of the coin will determine what companies are invested in. This makes a lot more sense than someone going, yeah, let's invest in Monsanto's new project for gene splicing, which scares a lot of people, and I personally would not like it, and yet I've got no control over it. And yet whatever is developed by these emerging technologies, our children will have to live with, and we'll have to live with them if they come out soon enough. And many of them are just, they're counterproductive. They isolate people. They do nothing for humanity.
Is this like a decentralized ICO technology type of thing?
Yes, absolutely.
Because I've seen
so anyway, just go to McAfeecoin.com. It's a very long, involved discussion, okay. But it will fill you in, and it's totally unique in the field of tokens and how they are used to benefit both yourself and society around you.
Very, very cool, very cool. What do you have any other favorite coins other than your own? I'm on your website. It's very nicely made. Did you make this website?
Well, BitIndia, and full disclosure, I'm one of the partners in that project.
Okay.
We've developed a wallet, which is also a distributed exchange. So that China, for example, shut down all of the exchanges in China. If we had at that time a wallet or any means of having a distributed exchange,
right?
Not located anywhere. There's not one central server, but it is distributed among everyone. This is the way of the future, and this will provide much greater power to the people, where you're no longer dependent upon localization of things like exchanges and governments. So, okay. So in any case, that's one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, I'm all about getting government out of my goddamn business. I'm all about that.
I'm sorry.
I'm all about getting government out of my business.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'm all about getting government out. Period. It's like
right.
Other than building roads and things of this nature, what does government do for us? It taxes
nothing.
It tells us what to do and how to do it.
Let me tell you
what not to do.
I was in a situation a couple years ago, corporate slavery, I call it, right, where I'm making
yes,
$800 a week, and it doesn't help me pay for anything. And then at the end of the week, they take 1/3 of my paycheck in taxes.
Yes.
What?
Right.
I mean, everywhere I go, they're taxing me when I pay with the already taxed money, right? I mean, it's
right.
And I'm over there living paycheck to paycheck, barely making it, and these fuckers just kept taking my money. I used to be so disgruntled that they took so much money from me, because I was almost on the street. I was on the street at one point. So. It's not fair that they take so much money from us and they don't tell us where they spend it. I mean, why don't you give me an itemized bill, right? Why don't you tell me what you're spending my money on? Is that too hard to do?
Well, this is the fundamental reason that governments are coming down on things like Bitcoin, all of the alt currencies, because even though the IRS and the FBI can unwind Bitcoin if they have enough motivation. It's not easy, but they can do it. They can find out who the sender and receiver of transactions are, but it cannot be done with things like Monero. So as the cryptocurrency tokens or currencies become more and more widespread because of the anonymity and privacy, governments will lose the ability to collect taxes because they will have no information whatsoever on what a person's income is. if you have a wallet that's stored, like maybe an offline wallet, like on Trezor or one of the other hardware wallets, and it's hidden in your backyard, under a coconut shell, there's simply no way they're going to find it. And, I mean, they don't have enough agents. They don't have enough enforcement.
Right. Even before Bitcoin, I was investing in silver and gold. I mean, that was my way to buck the system, was buying silver, like physical silver.
Yeah, but still, whoever you buy from, if it's a legitimate transaction, they have to log, who you are and what the transaction is. But with the alt currencies, there simply is no way. You'd have to have an agent per element of the population, and that's impossible. So this is why governments are afraid, because down the road they see themselves losing their revenue stream. If they can't tax your income, if they cannot tax a transaction because they don't know about it, then what are they going to do? They're going to have to find some other means, like maybe a pay for use, like the national parks, triple the fee for national parks, charge for a tiny amount per mile for every mile that you drive on federal roads, things of this nature. But it's terrifying, governments, and yet there's nothing they can possibly do to stop it.
Right.
Right now, China thinks, well, we'll shut down the exchanges and not allow ICOs. But you can do an ICO in any country. McAfee coin is being done in Switzerland. And we can not sell to specific IP addresses like the U.S. or China or something else. So that didn't do anything to stop or halt the rise of Bitcoin. And in the future, as technology becomes more advanced and the users have greater privacy, greater security, and greater anonymity, then what are they going to do? And especially with things like the BitIndia wallet, where there is no central exchange. How do you shut down an exchange?
Right, and
which is scattered all over the world.
That's needed. That's needed so badly right now. I mean, especially with the doxing going on, and now they're auditing. They're auditing Bittrex, right? So Bittrex is kicking coins out of the exchange because they're giving dividends, or they're burning their own coins. And that's in the government's eyes, that's a no, right? So it's decentralized exchanges are very important. How does BitIndia work? Like on the back end, not to go too much depth, but how is it? There
really is no back end. It really is a fully distributed system. There is no central server located anywhere, so there is no back end. The intelligence of the system resides in the distributed nature of the processing, where every person has their own wallet and processes a piece of every exchange. So it's a profoundly new concept. How we did it, I'm not likely to tell you today, because technology is the value here.
Right.
This is still a business. We have to keep in mind that this is a business. If it's not a business, we will not have much innovation. This is a fact.
And there's a lot of copycats out there. They'll just copy your code and go claim it as their own. I understand. So,
yeah, of course.
So, what do you have any advice that I could give my followers? I don't have a big following. I have about 900 crypto fanatics, following me. My followers are just fully crypto heads. And any advice you could give them to keep their wallets safe?
Yeah, absolutely. Number one, do not keep your wallet on a computer, a laptop, a pad, or your phone, because eventually it will be hacked. I promise you. You keep all of it. I don't know. It doesn't matter how much funds you have. The largest percentage should be offline at all times. On some sort of hardware wallet, and there are many of them out there now. Ledger has one, Trezor has a number of them. Pick one, use that, unplug it, and you will probably be safe. When I say probably, hackers are very clever,
right? And
they're usually a step ahead of everyone else. So, but I guarantee you, I don't care how secure someone says their wallet is. If it resides on your phone, for example, it's not secure. They say, but it's all encrypted. Here's the problem. Hackers can easily place keystroke loggers on your phone and screen captures.
Right.
So that when you're inputting your seed keys, for example, the hackers, if they have keystroke logger, will have your seed keys. And so I don't care how much encryption you use, if the software is able to see your input prior to being encrypted, then what use is encryption?
Right.
So
what software do you recommend, since McAfee's not the one we should go with lately? But
what software?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I favor the Mycelium wallet. I don't know why. I just for a software wallet, it's reasonably secure and
how about
easy to use.
How about like firewalls? I use Spy Shelter. I don't know if you heard of that one.
Which one?
Spy Shelter. It encrypts your keystrokes, and it's pretty in depth if you check it out. It's the best one I've found so far. It's called Spy Shelter.
Right.
It doesn't allow anything to go on your keyboard, in your clipboard.
Right. But see, again, even that doesn't matter. If every keystroke that you type is first intercepted by a hacker, then it doesn't matter what else you do. Who cares if it doesn't go into the clipboard?
Right.
It has to be typed, and the hacker places in front of all the other software its own piece, which filters and says, aha, it just types an A, or BITCOIN, aha, this must be a wallet. So trust me, there's nothing you can do. I mean, I my entire life dedicated myself to cybersecurity, and I know as well as anyone,
I'm really
nothing
excited.
is safe in the world of software.
I'm really excited to be talking to you right now, man. This is really cool. You've been like a hero of mine for a long time. Ever since I watched those videos of you in your pimp outfit.
Yes. Yeah, that was about 3 years ago.
That was great, man. I loved it. You're amazing. I listened to your interviews on other shows also.
That's when Intel decided to sue me, because Intel had purchased McAfee by then, and so I just settled that lawsuit about 3 months ago.
Jesus, unbelievable. What's your opinion on proof of stake? If you can't, like, proof of stake, you can't disconnect your wallet if you're staking. Have you had that issue where?
That's the problem with it. I mean, I understand proof of stake it sucks up far less electricity. That's the only good thing it does.
Right.
But proof of work, I'm sorry, that's just the way it has to be.
Right. Okay. And you know what? It's you can see it in the price. There's really no proof of stake coin that's done very well out there.
No, and they won't.
Right. Okay. That's Have you looked into like things like Steam It, where they have these decentralized blogs, and
well, yeah, I people send me a lot of Steam It posts, mostly about the things that I am doing, but I'm really not involved in the Steam It community.
I still see the problem with the DNS, right? I mean, if a government wants to shut them down, they could just shut down steamit.com, and
yes,
and that so it's
absolutely.
It's not really decentralized, right?
Yeah, anything centralized can be shut down.
Gotcha.
In any number of ways. They can disconnect your electricity, okay, for one thing, which is why decentralization is the way to go. It's the only way to give power back to the people and away from the power brokers.
Gotcha. I'm really interested in like the hard drive coins too. You like any of those, like Filecoin coming out with what's your opinion on IPFS, man?
I'm familiar with Filecoin. And what's the other one? IPSS?
IPFS, Interplanetary File System. What's your, what do you think about it?
I haven't seen that one, quite frankly.
Oh, it's not a coin. It's a technology. It's a protocol like TCP/IP.
Right. No, I understand totally. But I haven't. To be quite frank, I haven't dug into it. I've been spending so much time reading white papers for ICOs. I've probably read 800 of them in the past 6 months.
I work for coregroup.info, And
Yes.
these ICOs are a dime a dozen, man. They just keep coming in, and we're rejecting them because so many of them just sound like scams to us.
Yeah, but so many of them are also fascinating and hold great promise. Well, another company I'm working with is the KWH coin, the kilowatt coin, designed for people who are either fully off the grid or partially, where they have either hydroelectric or solar or wind power or what have you. And the problem with these things is that you're generating a constant amount of electricity, or whatever electricity the sun will provide or the water will provide. And frequently it's more than you need, and at other times it's less than you need.
Right.
Wouldn't it be great if there were a token where I'm living in Arizona and someone living in Vermont? I've got excess power, they need power, we can exchange tokens, and they can be used in any kind of way. So they will use those tokens then to buy the power from someone close to them. It's a tremendous idea, and the facilities are already there. I mean, even in third world countries, you can, like in Belize, if I wanted, I was running my generator, the excess power could go back into the grid, and I would get paid for that, or at least my bill would be reduced. So it's a very trivial thing to implement from a hardware standpoint. But that idea captivated me. I thought, wow, that's something else, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah,
I've seen, talk about saving.
Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of coins like that, actually. I'm not. You're like this. I think there was one called Earth Token coming out. What's your opinion on tokens and actual blockchains? I mean, you see all these token platforms coming out. I mean, Waves, NXT.
Right.
Like
again, I think it's a tremendously good idea. I mean, keep in mind, the blockchain is infinitely flexible. It's also infinitely secure, and it's the only ledger system that is absolutely solid. Can't be changed once you've done a transaction. That's it. It gets folded into every other transaction that is happening at the time, once the hash is complete, you cannot unwind it. So it's secure completely. And these two things, the flexibility and the security, make it an extraordinarily powerful tool. So I'm all for it. Tokenize everything. Why not?
Okay. I kind of like the idea of having an original chain, as compared to having a token, because if something happens to, let's say, the Waves platform, right? Their mother chain, that'll kind of cripple every token on their chain, right?
Right.
So I would rather, going back to the old days when people actually built the chain themselves, right? And
right.
Actually made a coin, like made a real proof of work coin, so something real instead of these tokens, which I like tokens, but could you imagine how the damage that could be done once there's like 5,000 tokens on one of these platforms?
Well, yes, I can, and they should not be done on a platform which is not absolutely rock solid, or is not dependable. Right. And that's very difficult in software, but not impossible. These things will shake themselves out. Those things which are shaky will eventually collapse, and that's a problem. Nevertheless, it's the reality. But eventually, we will come up with things which are totally reliable and hopefully distributed, because you can distribute anything if you think about it. I mean, that's what people are doing now that are illegally mining bitcoins using pieces of software that people download, and in the background when their phone or their laptop is not doing real work, they'll use those excess cycles to mine bitcoins. But it's spread out across thousands of different computers, or tens of thousands.
Hey,
that's a distributed system right there.
Right. I CPU mine anytime I can, man. If I find it, I'm mining Varium, like CPU coins that could be mineable with my little computers. I mine I mine Saya coin. I mine So I definitely do my part. I've been mining for the last couple of years, ever since Litecoin. And now I'm getting ready to mine the Filecoin. So I got like 500 terabytes ready, for when it comes out.
Awesome.
So I kind of believe in reinvesting my, whatever I earn in Bitcoin, I reinvest it back into, the technology again, so that, I may look crazy again in everybody's eyes. Bless you.
Thank you.
I may be crazy in everybody's eyes once again, but I've been there before.
Right.
And
I understand.
They could call me crazy, but you know what? In 10 years, when maybe Sire or maybe any one of these hard drive coins does great, they're gonna be like, oh man, I should have followed you again.
Right, like people who should have said I should have bought Bitcoin at 50 cents, right? So absolutely.
Cool, man. Oh man, dude. So you don't really recommend any software, right? Like as far as firewalls are concerned.
It's not for a wallet. If you're going to be keeping, I know people who keep hundreds of thousands of dollars in bitcoins on their phone, and now eventually that's simply going to disappear when hackers get sophisticated enough to plant software in the equivalent of what you like the flashlight apps. Okay, the original flashlight apps were trivial to write. Everybody downloaded them, and every one of them had malware. So when hackers get sophisticated enough, they'll activate the software, and the software will say, well, I've got $2,000 on this phone, and I've got $50,000 on this one. They'll get the low-hanging fruit first. So the more money you have in a software wallet, the more likely you will be the first to lose it.
Yeah. Well, but I personally have a couple proof of stake coins that I like to watch, and it's that's my problem with it also. I'm trying to find more protections to protect my my Atmos coin, and there's a few little junk coins I like to stake,
Sure.
But on that end, what's this thing with Jamie Dimon you were talking about?
Jamie Dimon, CEO of J.P. Morgan, one of the largest bank in America, came out and he did a rant. This is a few weeks back about how Bitcoin was a fraud. It was based on nothing, and that it would collapse and disappear. So I went on CNN's Fast Money and countered that by saying, the U.S. dollar is based on what? Is a piece of paper, really, and faith. Bitcoin at least is based on a proof of work. I'm one of the largest miners in America. We're running almost 2,000 machines, 2,000 of the Bitmain S9s.
Wow.
And I know exactly what it costs to create one Bitcoin. Right now it's over $1,000. So at least we have a proof of something. But what's the dollar based on? The value of the paper it's printed on. So which one is the fraud? Which one is the fraud? Clearly, there is no value to the U.S. dollar that you can point to and say, here is the value. It's all based on faith. And Bitcoin, too, is based on faith, but each coin required a huge amount of processing and electricity and facilities and management in order to create. So surely there has to be some value assigned to that work, the work that I do. For example, my power bill is hundreds of thousands of dollars a month.
Yeah, I bet.
So anyway, it was total nonsense, and he did the rant. Why? He's a banker. The bankers are the first people who will lose, because what is a wallet? What is your own bank? Is it not? If you want to do the equivalent of a wire transfer to someone in a foreign country, it just takes you a few minutes. If you do it through the bank, normally you have to walk into the bank, fill out the paperwork, send it in, and maybe the next day or the day after they'll get their money. Banks can't compete with alt currencies. It cannot be done.
Yeah.
It's too convenient. It's too easy. So what is happening is the the product that banks sell is now being done by Bitcoin, for example, in a distributed way, where every person is their own bank.
Right, their own bank.
You store your money in your bank. That you write checks on it or the equivalent by simply doing a transfer of funds. It's simply too easy. So banks are terrified. They see what's coming.
Right.
And the head of the IMF last week said that banks will disappear within a few years. So, and I believe that, with the exception of maybe the loan departments for loaning money, but that's just, that's not their main business. So
I closed my bank account about 3 months ago, and I never looked back.
So you are your own bank. So this is why Jamie Dimon is freaking out, because he sees his bank, one of the largest businesses in America, as being completely marginalized, the equivalent of the buggy whips, okay? Which is big business when people use horses. But then the automobile came along, and horses are still with us, but certainly not in the ubiquitous nature they used to be. And banks will be in that same position. They are the buggy whips of this century.
I was over by like 50 cents, right? And they gave me like this $40 overdraft fee, and I freaked out. I was like, you know what? Close my accounts. I don't want to deal with any of this anymore.
Right.
I just
listen, I'm running out of time, my friend. Let's have one more question.
Okay. Are cryptocurrencies viable for payment without buyer protection?
First of all, what is buyer protection? Have you ever purchased anything that went south on you and received your full money back or a new product? It's a rare thing. It's a rare thing. I mean, no matter what the warranty says, try to exercise that warranty. To me, it's really a trivial issue, because what is buyer protection? You're not going to get the product. That is, it's a scam. Well, that happens now anyway. Even on Amazon, not Amazon itself, but sort of the partners. There's scammers among that crowd. So that will always be with us. So buyer protection, no. I would say buyer beware. This is the way it's always been. It's your job to figure out whether the person you're buying something from is a legitimate a retailer or seller, and so we have many ways of testing that. Ratings, for example, where people who have bought products from them and can prove that they bought them can say, I never got the freaking product. Okay. Well, if they didn't get it, you're probably not going to get it either.
Right.
So use somebody else.
Right.
Buy it from another dealer.
It brings trust back into the equation.
It does. So in any case, my friend, I have to run. Okay. So I hope this has been helpful to you listeners.
Yeah, Lori wants to thank you for coming on to the show. She's the one that invited you on the show.
Okay. Well, wonderful. Thank you for inviting me, Lori.
She's listening right now.
All right.
All right, brother. Thank you for calling
thank you, my friend. And again, all of you listeners out there, do not keep all of your money in a software wallet. It will disappear. All right. And next time, we can talk about other subjects.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Thank you for having me on.
I'll be more prepared next time. I love you, John. Thanks, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
New technologies are advancing at a rapid pace. The way we communicate and do business is changing. New models of payment systems, commercial activity, and even the way we keep track of things, like of complex supply chains, are emerging. It can be overwhelming looking for a modern solution. This is where the Core Group enters the stage. Core Group are communications and public relations specialists covering the latest in the crypto and blockchain industry advancement. They provide services such as press release campaigns, article writing, radio interviews, and their own monthly crypto magazine publication and daily crypto news portal, plus a whole lot more. Being one of the fastest growing crypto media organizations in the ecosystem, they are set to make a splash in this new technological area. Want to find out more about your favorite blockchain solution, ICO, or just want to stay up to date with the blockchain ecology? Visit their website to learn more at coregroup.info.